Thank you, Stefan, and hello, everyone. Hopefully English is okay. We'll see how it goes. But thank you for having me, first of all, to Celix Solutions. It's a lovely event, and what a venue. It's beautiful. Cool, so I'm here today to talk about how one of our customers, Fruugo, how they tackled their aging work in Jira to improve their delivery. So where's the clicker here? Clearly we tested this beforehand. There we go. Perfect, so where I'm from is 55 Degrees. So we're a marketplace app partner based out of Sweden, as Stefan had said earlier. So we are based out of Malmo, so just across from Copenhagen, right at the bottom. So we're a team of about 17 people now, and we make apps for Jira specifically, and the apps are across cloud and data center. So there's no misbalance there. But we have a good partnership also. I just want to highlight with prokanban.org and scrum.org. So the way we work with those two organizations is that you might see some of our apps in some of their courses, so because of the flow metrics probabilistic forecasting element. Cool. And me, I'm Australian, as mentioned. I just want to highlight the no kangaroos in Austria. I see that everywhere, so I can confirm that is correct. I find that funny every time I come here. It's I don't get the joke, but it's also weird for me as an Australian, as I'm sure it's weird for you all. But I work as the partnerships manager at 55 Degrees. With that, I also do a bunch of other stuff. So I talk to customers also quite a lot, hear their stories, how they use our apps successfully to deliver what they're sort of seeking there. So first question I sort of wanted to put to you all here is, do you guys know how old your oldest work item is in Jira? Lots of new customers we have no idea. It's a very relevant question. It's kind of like an elephant in the room. No one wants to really address that. But yeah, some of the things here why it's important to take note of, because the work in progress is essentially stuff you've invested in, it's started, it's out of the backlog. But while it's being worked on, you're not seeing the value until it's actually completed. And because of that, once work is completed, then you can start to seek the improvement, the feedback loops, and also, at the end of the day, deliver, revenue, which is probably why we're deploying stuff. Cool. So I just want to introduce Fruugo. So that's who we're talking about today. So they're based out of the UK. They're about 150, 200 people organization, but they operate in over 40 countries. So they're like an online marketplace, similar to eBay or something like that. So it's all online, and they've been using Atlassian for I believe it's 10 years now, so they're heavily invested in Atlassian. And specifically with Fruugo, what I wanted to touch on today is their internal service desk. So as we see here, there's 3 people in the service desk for 150, 200 person organization. They only work 50% of the time in the service desk. So it's not a full-time thing. They have other priorities, other projects that they contribute to. And one of the big problems with the service desk is that they have, no service level agreements or expectations in place, sorry. So, if you submit something to the service desk, you have no idea when you're going to get it done, which is obviously a problem. That's ultimately the question we're always asked, right? When will this be done? So Fruugo had the problem that they couldn't answer that. So my main contact there, Ben, he's a good dude. He's their lead agile and person and their lead scrum master as well. He explained to me that it was out of hand, they had massive wait times, it was not a functioning service desk at all. So they had to considerably change the way that they were working with that. And due to lack of resources, they couldn't add more people. So they had to sort of think outside the box. So yeah, in September 2023 is when they had the wake-up call, as I put it here. So they had 50 work items in progress. So that's pretty significant if you think there's only 3 people working at 50%. So if you just think about your own work, if you have 50 work items in progress, that's, you wouldn't want to be in that. And I guess the biggest shocking number here is that work totaled over 4,000 days. So it's a, big elephant in the room, and, how do you even begin to fix that, right? Like if, for me, if I had that problem, that would be a very uncomfortable situation. And the way that they discovered this is via our app, so the one I'm talking about today, Actionable Agile Analytics, which is available on Jira. So through the aging work in progress chart, which is this one here. So the aging work in progress chart is probably our most used chart within the app. So what we're looking at here on the bottom is the workflow. And on the left-hand side, you have the amount of days that work is in progress. And this updates in real time. And each dot you see there is a work item, right? Something in progress. So when Fruugo loaded this one, instead of 45, they had 4,000. And the chart probably looked like massive. So you can imagine how uncomfortable that was when you see that. But I guess, without the data, you have no idea that that's even going on. The other chart that Fruugo uses is the work in progress run chart. So this one updates, in real time as well and daily, and this one shows the amount of work you have in progress on a given day. So, this is where they would have seen the 50 work items, which would have been quite shocking. So this is a quick, simple way that they, found that work. Can also be applicable, particularly the previous chart, to, Scrum teams. So we have lots of Scrum teams that look at that in their dailies. Okay, how old's our work? Is it, longer than 85% of the work we've done previously? Stuff like that. Okay. So what did they do about it? So as I mentioned, they couldn't add resources, but what they could do, is that now they understand the problem, they can see the data. So what they did is they held retro-style discussions. So 50% service desk, 3 people. So Ben, with those 3 people, they had the discussions. Okay, what's happening here? They set the SLA, so the service level agreements, using cycle time data. So those familiar with cycle time, it's basically how long it takes you to complete a work item. So using the cycle time, they were able to identify trends. So like certain types of work, right? So say a website update, they could identify that through filtering. Okay, updating a website, 85% of the time, it would take us 7 days. So all of a sudden you have your SLA. And you can sort of figure that out in just minutes. And then, of course, they ask for cleaner data. So when they get service requests, now they know what to ask for. People have a better understanding of what to provide. Cool. Of course, they weren't the only 3 things that they did, but we only have 15 minutes, and talking about a flow metrics transformation is a bit more than that. But yeah, if we can go to the result now. So we'll see on the chart here that, so this is a real screenshot from our app, Actionable Agile Analytics. So on the left, we have September 2023. So that's where they were at 4,000 work items. So you can see immediately after they loaded the data, I suppose they were able to close some off quite quickly. But they still had 2,000, which is a pretty significant number and still terrifying for a 3-person team. So yeah, they've worked diligently over the last year, just over a year. And in January 2025, they got that down to 77 days in total from 4,000 and 12 work items. So a total transformation in their work. So they've gone from a not very functional service desk to a highly functional service desk. And to be honest, this isn't even the main use case for our app. It's more towards Scrum, Kanban teams. But I thought this was a pretty awesome story to tell of overcoming sort of the impossible and through data, and I guess without the data, how do you begin to improve? How do you measure stuff? So, Ben was pretty proud of that, and he, said to me in our chats, he's when he has the dark days, he looks at that previous chart to know, he's done something within the organization, which is, pretty important and significant and sort of justifiable, all through data, which is important, especially when you're, answering stakeholders and stuff like that. Awesome. So to recap everything, so as I mentioned, the visibility changes everything. So they knew they had a problem, but they had no idea what it was. So they learned the age. Okay, now they have a different sort of context, right? So they understand, okay, we have this problem. How do we go about fixing it? So they use the data to help fix it within their own context and, working internally. But without that data, how do you measure? Coming back to that again. And then, finally, Jira tells you what. So you have all the information in Jira. What Actionable Agile can help you with is, putting that back to you in a, digestible way, helping you paint a more complete picture to be able to help answer the question better of when it will be done. One of the most important questions that, I'm sure everyone gets asked in their work. So that was a very, very small part of what the app does. We have 15 charts. I showed you 2. So there's a lot more meat on the bone there, but again, we have 15 minutes, and a flow metrics introduction in 15 minutes is pretty rough. Cool. So thank you all for the time today. I have a little booth over there. If it's interesting for you, come have a chat. It's our LinkedIn. You can see some more content there. I'm also running a workshop, I think at 3:30, 3:45 in one of the rooms on getting started with probabilistic forecasting as well. So if that's interesting, you're more than welcome to join. Hand it back to Stefan now. Thank you, everyone.